Hey guys, today I got a rather short story. This one is about lingering wounds.
There are spoilers for the Lost Mines of Andelver.
This is a goofy tale of how my DM got me to stare at a black screen for 4 hours during a session of D&D. It's not really that scary of a horror story. It's more like a Goosebumps novel. The story itself happened during the second half of 2020, so the details might be a little fuzzy. I hope that you find this story as funny as I do. So, for context, I was very bored during the pandemic and decided to get into my third weekly D&D game. The DM, who was a friend of mine from a previous game, had talked to me about potentially running a game soon, and I expressed my interest. It was hosted on Roll20, given that we were in the middle of lockdown at the time. The game would be running the fairly standard Lost Mines of Andelver module, with no change to the story, and a single homebrew rule. This rule would unknowingly be what spelled my doom so many sessions later. The rule was the integration of the Lingering Injuries table. If you're unaware, Lingering Injuries is an optional rule found in the Dungeon Master's Guide that lists possible permanent injuries that characters might sustain from certain circumstances. Our DM would ask us to roll for an injury every time that we hit 0 HP, probably to increase the difficulty of the game. The severity of these injuries was pretty varied, with the range being from dismemberment to cosmetic scarring. None of the players objected to this rule as far as I can remember, but we did find it a bit strange. Our party was fairly well distributed, with a paladin, a cleric, a sorcerer, and a monk, with me as the monk. And it would be this monk that suffered throughout the game. The first session was pretty standard. We encountered the main hook, fought a goblin ambush, and went to rescue the main NPC. What was not standard was my awful luck. I could not roll well at all for anything, and all the enemies rolled spectacularly against me. In the first session, I was the only character to go down when fighting a goblin ambush, and I was the first one to roll on the injury table. I rolled a nat 1. As a result, I lost an eye immediately, meaning that I had disadvantage on ranged attacks and perception checks. Kinda sucked, but I could handle it. The second session was uneventful. Some scrapes and scratches from my comrades, but no debilitating injuries. The third session was when my bad luck reared its ugly head once again. We fought some Red Brand guys when entering Phandalin, and in this fight, I would be down for the second and third time. So, 2 more injury rolls. The second injury roll was okay. Nothing a little healing wouldn't fix. On the third, I rolled a 3, so my monk was now missing a foot, halving my speed and causing me to fall prone after taking the dash action. Not the best for the highly mobile monk class, but hey, maybe I can get a cool prosthetic. And I would in fact get a prosthetic, though I would hardly say that it was cool. We visited the carpenter in the 4th session, and my monk would be outfitted with a carved wooden leg from a table, restoring my speed but not the falling prone. At this point, I was having thoughts about retiring or killing this character and getting someone without all the debuffs. Little did I know how much worse it would get. We decided to drive out the Red Brands from the town, so for the next 3 sessions, we would be slowly progressing through their hideout in an effort to eliminate their boss. And about halfway through, we would find some townsfolk being held prisoner deep within their hideout, and a fight would break out while we try to free them. I would be downed several times in this fight, almost to the point of it being comical, but it was the last 2 injury rolls that would really matter. My monk would roll a 2 and a 1 on the injury table, losing a hand and his remaining eye, meaning that he was now blind and could only hold a single object at a time. This is when I really decided that this character would act so recklessly that there would be no way that he wouldn't just die, and then I could finally play something that didn't get a limb hacked off every time we fought. During the days before the game, the DM had announced that he had figured out the vision controls for our characters on Roll20, fixing some issues that we had early on, and I suppose while he was at it, he decided to turn my character's vision off entirely. So for the next session, I had a surreal experience. I sat at my computer, staring into a pitch-black screen, for 4 hours. I sat in voice call on Discord, with a blank screen where the Roll20 map should have been in front of me. Needless to say, I was super checked out for that session and struggled to hold my laughter in. When this session ended, I asked him why he decided to turn my vision off, to which he responded with, "Well, I wanted it to be more immersive." After he said that, I told him that I was rather bored staring at a black screen, to which he relented and restored my sight of the Roll20 board for the next session. Well guys, I don't really have much here to say except maybe don't let your player look at a black screen for 4 hours even if his character is blind. That's kind of really the only thing I have to say. Maybe the OP should have talked to the DM as well, saying that he wasn't having as much fun because his character was becoming a Black Knight analog. But if you do have experience with the lingering wounds, I have never personally used it, and I am curious if anyone has actually used it and had it work out narratively or for the better for them or their group. I imagine if done correctly, it could be used as a additional storytelling element or something to raise the stakes a little bit. But anyway, that's it for this one, so as always, have a good one.